YouTube top 16 of the new pack day, and we're going to start this off with some Yubel. Yubel against the best deck in the game. I'm assuming this is Snake Eye Fire King. Phantom of Yubel being a big card that made the deck so much better within the TCG and OCG. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, begin.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Dark Beckoning, adding a Chaos Summoning Beast as the opening of the Spirit Gate searches for another Dark Beckoning Beast. A lot of people have the question, including Giash, who's asking me, why do people play the Chaos Summoning Beast? Well, let me read you. No, don't read it. It's just a fiend. It's a fiend that's searchable with the Dark Beckoning Beast. Dark Beckoning cannot search itself. So you can either search for a Spirit Gates, or you could search for a Chaos Summoning Beast to summon alongside your Dark Beckoning Beast. It ensures that with you opening up a Spirit of the Gates, that you have 2 fiend monsters to make a Yama with. Otherwise, you can't make Yama with an opener of just Spirit of the Gates unless you play a Chaos Summoning Beast. So there you go, now you know. Making the Yama on summon, search on the deck for a Shavara. We're going to use the Spirit to discard from our hand our Terror Incarnate to reborn a Dark Beckoning. We're now going to return a Terror Incarnate Yubel monster plus a 0 attack, 0 defense to summon from our extra deck a Phantom of Yubel, which is a monster negate. This is how we counter a card like Nibiru. We're now going to pop the Dark Beckoning, summon the Shavara, link this off into an Unchained Soul of Rage, which will trigger Shavara to set from the deck and Escape of the Unchained. And that's it. That's all we need. So what do we have here? We have Shavara to link off of the monster. We have the Escape to pop a card in the field, and Yama's going to reborn the Rage back in the field to link off of the monster. We have Phantom of Yubel to negate a monster effect, essentially. We have Impermanence. We then, with the Soul of Rage, link off into a Little Knight Banish. We can then banish again. So with this tiny field, we have about 6 disruptions. Let's go. Now, unfortunately, if we pop the Soul of Rage and try to reborn it, the Call by the Grave is going to finger it. So what do? Foolish Burial, send from the deck. Wait, this is not the best deck. This is a Stardust deck? How'd you get in the top 16? What are you doing here? Subversion into the Imperm column. Interestingly, we're just going to pop it instead of waiting for it to activate. Triggering the Yama to reborn the Soul of Rage. Finger the Rage. Right now, just like that. Finger that Rage so it does not get reborn. It does not add from the graveyard back to the hand, but we have a Crossout Designate to negate the Call of the Grave. And back in my day, 2 years ago, you could Crossout Designate, negate a Crossout Designate. Not today. In TCG, you still can. They still have it at 3. Add back Shavara, reborn our Soul of Rage. We can now link off with Diablo Star into a Little Knight, but there's nothing on the field that's relevant to banish. We want to ensure that they cannot activate the original Sinful Spoils, which they now can't. How are they going to activate it? There's no face-up card. You can't use it on your Crossout Designate in some way. You need a face-up spell or trap or a face-up monster. Now we have Nightmare Throne grabbing a Samsara D Lotus from our deck. Now the Dark Beckoning Beast allows the Samsara D Lotus to be additionally normal summoned. D Lotus Tribute to summon from the deck a Spirit of Yubel, which will search our deck for a Nightmare Pain. Nightmare Pain will destroy a dark monster from our hand or field to then search our deck for a Yubel card, grabbing the Grave Squirmer. If we have a fiend on the field, the Squirmer could summon itself onto the field. Now, if the Yubel leaves the field by card effect, the Throne is going to summon a Terror Incarnate onto the field by first adding it to the hand, and the Spirit of Yubel summoning a Yubel from the deck after being destroyed. Let's further link this up into Nightmare Unicorn. Interesting that you have room for that. And Access Code Talker. Very nice. Boost up to 5,300 attack. Summon our Grave Squirmer. We still don't have lethal damage. Can we put 3k damage out? Maybe not, because this is Yubel. So we're making Cross Sheep just to get the Grave Squirmer into the grave to reborn from the grave our monster, which will be our D-Lotus. Further linking this up into an Unchained Abomination. Zulibo is ready with so many Ghost Second cards. Very nicely done. Access Code Talker, Abomination. I'm curious if you're playing Masquerena with your Unicorn. So your Rage could go into Little Knight. Your Masquerena could go into a Unicorn, possibly, if you're even playing that. Let's hop into game number 2. Ain't no freaking way. Look at that. Snake Eye Synchro, which, unfortunately, they're bricking. Oh, no. What is this? What is this? Oh, my gosh. We have the Spirit Gate searching for a Dark Beckoning Beast. We're going to draw in Lockbird, lock them out of nothing as the finger comes in clutch. Finger in the draw in Lockbird. Negate. Now, what else do we have from here? We should speed this up. The Ash Blossom's ready to negate something. Nightmare Throne, pop in the Spirit of Yubel. We're going to negate the Spirit of Yubel. You may be thinking, why? Why not negate the Nightmare Throne? Well, we thought Nightmare Throne was going to add a D-Lotus, which we could have ashed the D-Lotus. By popping the Spirit of Yubel, and really, you should pay attention to this. You could play this in any deck. 3 Throne in your favorite deck, plus 1 Spirit of Yubel and 1 Yubel, and then put in your extra deck a Phantom of Yubel. It's a Phantom of Yubel summon, which would have negated the Ash. So its main purpose is it's definitely going to eat that Ash. So if your deck loses to Ash, play Nightmare Throne, eat the Ash without using up your normal summon. They're going to be forced to Ash before this is summoned, or just negate the Ash, and then make your other plays. So I would like to see Branded Fusion be playing Nightmare Throne. That'd be spicy if you have room for the Phantom of Yubel in the extra deck. We're going to set up into the back row, the Escape, D-Lotus, summon for the deck, Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel, search and set up our Nightmare Pain. This could be ashed. We're going to pop a Dark Monster, grab the Squirmer. We're going to Spirit of Yubel, summon a Yubel, Nightmare Throne, trigger, grab the Terra Incarnate to come forth and summon. Bunch of 0-attack monsters here. Unchained Soul, Lord of Yama, add from the graveyard, back to the hand. Squirmer, come forth and summon. Further link this up into a Nightmare Unicorn. Further link it up into an Access Code Talker. 5,300 damage. Squirmer reborn from the graveyard. Shavara, pop the Spirit of Yubel, summon a Yubel from the deck. The opening gates has not discarded yet. I don't think so, right? We're going to be reborning the Unicorn to the effect of the Yama after a card was destroyed. Thus, we now have 8,000 damage on an open field, which many Yubel decks are not able to do this. 2-0 victory going into the top 8. Let's go. Yeah, I'm struggling with... Should I play Super Poly with all the extra deck cards that are required to play it? Or do I play cards like Unchained Abomination, Access Code Talker, Imperm? Yeah, but we're going first. So a big question could be, what do you Imperm against Yubel? We're going to Imperm negate the Diablo Star, which I would say is not standard. You usually wait for a Snake Eye Ash after they grab the original Sinful. Now, against Yubel, if you negate the D-Lotus, that's high risk and high reward. You could screw their entire turn off of that, but if they have any extension to make a Muckraker, they could just reborn the D-Lotus and then your Imperm's no good. But if you Imperm a Spirit of Yubel, that also could be quite the risk, because what if they already have a Nightmare Pain? But if they don't have Nightmare Pain and you Imperm the Spirit of Yubel, that's pretty damn good, stopping them from Nightmare Pain. But because you didn't Imperm the D-Lotus, they now have access to a Phantom of Yubel, which they may not have had access to otherwise. So it's really difficult on what you should do. For my playtesting, I think overall, I was hurt more by them Imperming my Spirit of Yubel. Every time my D-Lotus got Impermed, I usually had a way to get it into the grave and then reborn it with the Spirit Gates, or reborn it with a Muckraker. Or even reborn it with a Squirmer. Squirmer could just reborn it, and that's another way. Also another way could be Yama. If you could trigger Yama, Yama could special summon D-Lotus from the hand or from the grave. Let's further Shokan this up into Amblo Whale. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Starting off with the Nightmare Throne, we're going to chain pop that Nightmare Throne. Another copy is not allowed to be activated. Only once per turn it can be activated. Thus, we don't get to make a Phantom of Yubel or search for a D-Lotus, setting up with the Nightmare Pain. We're going to be, in response to that, summoning a Masquerena from our back row. We are now under Max C. No, we're not, because we're going to finger that Max C. Damn, Kid Art is getting completely countered. Can Kid Art make some good plays? Well, if something happens to that Nightmare Pain, we're done. So Masquerena into Little Knight, banish Nightmare Pain. What? Apollo USA instead of being able to deal with directly the Nightmare Pain. That's interesting, sure. If we're triple monster negate, we're going to finger the Flame Burst from reborning 2 level 1 fires from the grave. 2,400, can we deal with that? We could go into a Phantom of Yubel potentially. So it's very difficult on what we search here. We go for the Yubel. If we go for D-Lotus, D-Lotus would be negated by the Apollo. Otherwise, with the Yubel, we can go into the Phantom. But still, like, not that good. What are we even really doing here? Phantom could reflect 2,400, and then Apollo could just negate Phantom. We don't have Phantom negating Apollo because we have no other effect for the Apollo to negate. So it completely stopped here, but we still have to deal with the Phantom of Yubel. It can be destroyed by card effect, it just can't be destroyed by battle, and we do have to attack into it. We're gonna Phantom of Yubel, Apollo USA, negate, thus, it's now an open field. Open field, completely negated, no other plays, and game 1 should be going to Mary. Marie, pop from the deck, a Kieran, reborn from the grave or summoned from the hand, Arvata, pop the back row. I do think Snake Eye Fire King right now is better than Yubel, but I think Yubel's gonna become better than Snake Eye Fire King, even before Fiendsmith comes out, because I do think a ban list is gonna hit Snake Eye Fire King again. And then Fiendsmith will come out, making it even better. Right away, hard summoning Phantom of Yubel. Too late to maxi, not that you would have wanted to anyway. Back to you. And because Phantom of Yubel is creating this scenario where people are going to want to maxi earlier within the draw phase, this is a good time to possibly be playing Gamma. Maybe not within this week, but once people play enough against Yubel and they're summoning that Phantom before you activate the maxi, then next week, by next week, Gamma is going to be hot. We're going to set up that Divine Temple, equip into the back row our Snake Eye Ash. The Volcanics is essentially a Fire King Island. We're going to pop a fire to then add a fire. We're going to call by the grave, finger the Phantom of Yubel, Imperm, negate the Volcanics, so you're not going to get pop in. We're going to use Skyburn to dodge the Imperm, negate pop in the Impermanence. Now we have to play with just Gamma. When do we Gamma? Do we Gamma negate the Ponix? Ponix will be added, Ponix will trigger and summon, Ponix will activate, Gamma will then negate. We do it? Volcanics, and the Ponix is triggering. We could not have chain link blocked the Ponix here, but the Ponix being activated here is when we're going to be negating. Really? We're not Gamma negating Ponix. Okay. Setting up Fire King out, we're gonna wait for the Garunix. We're gonna Gamma negate Garunix. Negate. The on-field effect, at least. There we go. Wait for Garunix on-field effect. Destroy and negate. Get out of here, mate. Now, what do we have off of that? We have nothing. Nicely done. So the opponent just has a Nibiru with no other disruption, and with all the one-card combos this deck has, the Spirit Gates, Dark Beckoning, Throne, D-Lotus, Piri Reese-Map if you're coping. No, we didn't draw it. Okay, add the Ponix back. And end our turn. Back to you. Damn, ain't that something? Arvata is now here, using the Fire King Island, pop the Ponix, grab the Kieran, trigger the Garunix Engrave, come forth and summon, activate, Imperm, but then Kieran will dodge the Imperm so we don't Imperm, popping Kieran, reborning from the grave of Ponix, further linking this up into a Doolittle Chimera to pop the Doolittle Chimera, or just use it for lethal damage, but we're going to... We don't negate Chimera. Chimera's boosting the fields. All fire monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Was that a bigger boost, negating the Garunix? It still stopped lethal. Okay. How much was Garunix boosted by? The Doolittle was a plus 1500. The Garunix was... It was the half of the attack of what you destroy. Well, either way, we stop lethal damage. Come forth, Flame Bear's Dragon. Now we're setting up a ton of disruption. This is going to be impossible to play through. We have Arvata, negate, Promethean pop, Kieran pop, and we also have Nibiru on top of that. Yeah, it's Super Poly with no discard. No way, no way. All these one-card starters, even though it would have been disrupted, we're just not drawing it. This makes Snake Eye Fire King look way better than it is against Yubel. I swear Yubel's better than this. It's not Kid Art's fault. Kid Art is just getting really unlucky. What was Kid Art's opening hand? Like 2 Yubel's monsters that couldn't even be summoned, plus Gamma and freaking Driver? Oh my gosh. If Yubel's struggling with consistency, we're gonna have to put in Piri Reese Map. We're going to have to put in 1-for-1 if you're not already playing it. So those are additional options to help make the deck more consistent. All right. Yeah, there probably is a future where you're going to consider an AI as an actual friend. Nightmare Pain with a Dark Beckoning Beast. We're going to pop it to search our deck for our D Lotus. We're going to use the opening to discard a card to reborn from the grave, the Dark Beckoning, which will additionally allow us to summon the D Lotus, as the Psy-Frame Gear Gamma now negates. How do we stop the Gamma? You can't finger it, but you could use Ash Blossom if you want, but it's still going to be activatable within that same turn. So nicely done. Not ashing the D Lotus, which would have been fingered, Gammaing instead. And so hard once per turn activation, thus, that's it. We have no access to the Yubel cards. We're making a Lord of Yama search our deck for a Shavara. We're going to get Ash Blossomed as the Yama eats that Ash, and then we finger it. Negate. No stoppage from us. We're going to be searching for that Shavara. Now, we have nothing to pop. Unless we set Super Poly, pop Super Poly, which I think is our play. No, we're going to have the Squirmer. We're going to Squirmer Reborn, pop it, then we could link off. That's going to be our play. Popping Yama instead. Okay, first we're going to Grave Squirmer for the other monster. So what I was saying, we're going to Reborn, then we're going to make the Soul of Rage, triggering the Shabar to set from the back row. A Chamber, not an Escape, sure. This Escape would have been better here, but that's fine. Let's see what's good. Bonfire, searching our deck for the Snake Eye Ash. We can't interact with a normal summoned Ash. There has to be a special summon monster, which it's going to be now. Poplar, trigger, special summon. The Soul of Rage could link off with it whenever we want to make an SP Little Knight. We're going to Divine Temple, equip into the back row. Oh my gosh. We're going to have to Yama Reborn, and then it gets destroyed again, but then we have Chamber to Reborn it. So, very good. If they're forcing you to use your Soul of Rage and you have a Yama in the graveyard, you're not forced to, it's just going to Reborn. And with Nightmare Pain, alongside that having another Yubel, you're going to be protected from attacks because they're forced to attack into that Yubel. Now, I don't think this is in anyone's mind right now, but you do have to consider that if you attack into a Yubel player, they could have in their hand a Spirit of Yubel. It's going to be incredibly rare, but it could be a thing where it will, on the attack declaration, special summon onto the field, and then force all of your monsters to attack into that Spirit of Yubel, which may inflict lethal damage. Poplar, we have Chamber, come forth and Reborn. I remember bricking so bad with Yubel against an opponent, and they weren't attacking, and I was like, why are they not attacking? Oh, they're afraid of me actually having Spirit of Yubel. Rage, link off with that Poplar after the Divine summoned it from the back row. Come forth and Shokan into Little Knight. Little Knight is here on summon, activate, banishing the Snake Eye Ash off of the field. As we send from the field to the grave to summon our Diablo Star, activating to equip into the back row, I should say setting an original Sinful Spoils. As we further link this up into our own SP Little Knight, activate to banish, Little Knight, activate to banish, Little Knight, activate to banish. No, we're not going to play that, sure, okay. They're going to come back during the end phase. As we original Sinful Spoils, summon from the deck a Snake Eye Oak. Oak, Reborn the Ash, link Haribo, tribute off the Oak to come forth and summon. And so, I don't think Little Knight should have banished Little Knight. It should have banished the Spirit Gates or the Nightmare Pain, because if they wait with their Little Knight to banish one of your other cards, your Little Knight will turn her off by banishing her plus your own Little Knight, thus the other card won't be banished, because both cards have to be there on the resolution of banishment to get banished. So your Little Knight just sitting there after banishing something else would have completely countered the Little Knight. The same exact scenario would have happened, but they'd be minus a Nightmare Pain or minus a Spirit Gates. Now, be mindful of the other effect of Spirit Gates. The hidden effect is if a Nightmare Pain's in the graveyard, you could add it back to your hand if you have a level 10 on the field. Dark's gonna come forth and Reborn. You wasted 8k gems to get a pay-to-lose deck. Oh my Jesus. What? What's a pay-to-lose deck? You're not talking about Yubel, I know that. Celine Abida with 3 spell counters at least. Remove 3. Reborn for the graveyard. A spellcaster in defense. Because it has to be in defense, we can't summon a link. Further Shokaning into an Axis Code Talker. 5,300 attack. And as I said, Nightmare Pain in the graveyard is recyclable with the Spirit Gates. So while we're losing both of them right now, if we get access to another Dark Beckoning Beast, we're going to be able to add it back. Now, because we activated the effect of the Little Knight, we were not able to attack directly. Super Polymerization, fusing the Little Knight in Axis Code Talker into a Mood Dragon. Mood Dragon is here, as we're going to be making Dark Monsters completely untargetable. Squirmer's going to banish from the graveyard to come forth and summon Samsara D-Lotus, and just like that, D-Lotus is actually a disruption itself. If the opponent activates a monster effect and you control Yubel, it turns into they have to destroy that Yubel card on the field instead. Now, if you have a Phantom of Yubel and a D-Lotus, you have to Phantom of Yubel first because the D-Lotus will have your Phantom of Yubel get destroyed. Onyx is going to get negated by impermanence from searching for the Fire King Island, which actually you're not. I'm seeing a lot of top deck lists starting to take Impermanent Veiler out because it's not reliable against Fire King. The Kieran being played at 3, being able to pop. I do think Kieran's going to get semi-limited soon. We're now going to be triggering Garunix, come forth and summon, to then pop an Arvata to reborn the Ponix. Now, game 1 went to UMC. Yubel won game 1, right? Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Link Karibo, yeah. Yubel won game 1. We just switched up the perspective here. Further show-conning into a Promethean Princess. Promethean Princess is going to be reborning from the graveyard. Arvata, what are our disruptions here that Yubel has to play through? Ooh, super poly right off the bat. Now, Arvata is a monster negate. The Promethean Princess can pop a card on the field on special summon. The Ash can negate. The Imperm can negate. The Garunix is going to pop a Kieran to then pop a card in the field. So 5 disruptions. Now, Super Poly is turning off the Arvata. So what's good? Discarding, get Fusion into Mood Dragon. Now, how do we trigger Promethean? I don't see a way to get a fire monster in the field, so we lose that. How do we trigger Garunix? Well, we don't have a fire monster in the field or a way for a fire to get destroyed, so we lose that. Thus, we only have Imperm, which the Mood Dragon is going to completely stop by declaring the attribute of our own monsters being dark, so you can't Imperm. Thus, we only have Ash Blossom. That's it. So if we Spirit Gates, eat the Ash, then follow up Dark Beckoning Beast, we need the Chaos Summoning to make that a play. We're going to start with the Dark Beckoning Beast instead. Did you declared fire with Mood Dragon to stop Promethean, but Promethean already can't be summoned. Yeah, I don't know if that was a good idea. Imperm, we could Amirage, then reborn it. But then what? Okay, no, we have Dark Beckoning, so we could get into the graveyard. So instead of Amirage, making a cross sheet, sure. Discard Super Poly, reborn Dark Beckoning, additional summon the Dark Beckoning. All right, this works. Unchained Soul, Lord of Yama, searching our deck for a Shavara. We're going to return from the graveyard back in the deck to summon our Phantom of Yubel, triggering the cross sheep to reborn a monster from the grave. Further linking this up into an Unchained Soul of Rage. We're going to Shavara pop the Soul of Rage to add a card in the graveyard back to our hand, also trigger the Yama to reborn. This tells me he's playing Chamber, right? You wouldn't do this if you're playing Escape. Add back the Dark Beckoning, and also summon from the graveyard the Soul of Rage back onto the field. Further linking this up into an Unchained Abomination, which will destroy a card during the end phase. There's the Chamber as suspected. 3K, end phase. We can't take out the Fire King Island. The Sanctuary, I think you should still try to pop the Fire King Island, right? Because you have to, if you have to destroy a fire monster in your hand or face up instead. So forcing them to destroy the Ash Blossom maybe would have been better, right? Oak off the top of the deck, but we have Phantom of Yubel, which will be able to negate, but we're not negating. We're going to grab a Skyburn. Now, Skyburn could wipe out the Phantom of Yubel before we were even able to negate. We did not negate. The Abomination is going to be triggering off of a card being destroyed to now take out the Fire King Island because we waited. Now the Fire King Island is going to wipe out all of the opposing monsters. So that could have been the plan. Activate Wipe It. Garunix also activate Papa Kieran from the deck, which will reborn a monster, then pop a card in the field, which is going to take out our Rage play. That's it. We reborn Rage. Rage gets popped. Rage is not going to be able to link off with anything. Yeah. So we lose Rage. We don't have Yama. Yama's not activatable because we don't have it in the grave. Goodbye, Rage. Rage will trigger to add a card in the graveyard back to the hand at least. We're also triggering the Promethean off of your summon of your Rage. We have the Arvata, which is going to be negating the Rage from adding a card in the graveyard back to the hand by popping the Ash from the hand. Come forth and summon. Goodbye to the Abomination. Promethean Princess will be able to reborn a monster from the grave. Arvata being destroyed, reborn a monster, but it's negated. You have how much damage? 5,400, 63. Let's deal some damage here. Do we have another Kieran in the deck for another disruption through the Garunix? We do. The third one is ready and waiting in the deck to get disrupted. We want to get Garunix into the graveyard, which we were able to do so by making a Hida off of the Flameburge, also reborning 2 level 1 fires from the grave. Hida steal a fire monster from the grave, stealing Shavara. Shavara doesn't lock you into Fiend-type monsters unless it's summoned through its own card effect. Making a Masquerena, which will be able to make it a Little Knight into a double disruption. And then we have a Promethean Princess, we have Garunix, we have 4 disruptions that we have to play through. I don't think we could do it. Terra Incarnate, which can make a Phantom of Yubel. We don't have another monster in the grave to make it with. We have to make it with the Dark Beckoning. Activate the Opening of the Spirit Gates, grabbing our second copy of the Dark Beckoning, additionally summoning it. We're now making the Phantom of Yubel to negate a monster effect. Promethean Princess is going to get negated, summoning a Yubel from the deck. We're going to chain Masquerena, go into a Little Knight is what I'm assuming. Yes, link it off into Little Knight. Little Knight on summon's going to get Vanishing. Yubel destroying a Spirit of Yubel to trigger and summon from the deck a Yubel. Little Knight banishing the Beckoning off of the field, so we're now down to the second banish of Little Knight and the Garunix engrave to pop any card in the field. Typhon, let's go. Does Typhon turn off Garunix? What's Garunix's attack? Garunix's attack is 27. Damn, does not turn it off. To battle we go, wiping out that Little Knight. We just have Garunix, but we can't activate it because we're going to spin back the Hida. Ooh, nothing in the field, nothing in the hand. 3,000 attack or more cannot activate no matter where it is. Do we have anything activatable in the graveyard here at the start of our turn? We have nothing. If we top deck a fire monster, we could suicide it into the Typhon, then trigger our Garunix to take out the Typhon. Anything. Ash Blossom would work. Poplar. There you go. We got plays. Grabbing the original Sinful. Link Karibo to get the Poplar into the back row to use our original Sinful on. Sure. We're going to equip it, the Flameburge, that is, to get 2 fire monsters from the grave. Ash is activating. Typhon is still continually stopping 3,000 or more attack from activating. Unfortunately, everything is too tiny. Everything is activatable here. Under 3K, we're good. So what could Typhon actually stop? It stops the Abominable Unchained from activating, but it is able to attack still, unfortunately. Lethal damage taking this into game 3. Okay, all right, let's go. Let's do it. So this is it. This is not one Nightmare Throne combo without disruption. A lot of people are going to perform this combo differently. In the TCG, they're summoning the rank 10 Xyz we don't have. So let's see what UMC does. Grabbing a Dark Beckoning Beast, because I think we're going to use the Nightmare Pain instead to gain access to our D-Lotus. So this is now no longer a single Nightmare Throne play. It is Nightmare Throne plus a Nightmare Pain. I'm going to be honest, I'm a bit confused here. We're going to reset up a chamber. Wow, so we didn't go into our Yubel engine. Interesting. No Yubel off of this. So what we did instead was we have Chamber to Reborn the Soul of Rage to link off of the opponent's monster. If any card on the field gets destroyed, the Unchained Abomination is going to trigger to pop another card in the field. Now, we don't directly have a way to contribute to the Abomination triggering, but the opponent is Fire King, so I'm thinking Fire King's going to be triggering this. Card in the field is destroyed by card effect. You then target another card in the field and destroy it. Is Unchained Abomination a counter to Fire King? I'm skeptical, but I'm open-minded to see what it could do. Let's see. Now we're not going to see what it do, unless we cross out Designate, which we didn't have. Damn. Poplar going to be negated, but as I said, Kieran could dodge impermanence, which a lot of people are not like an imperm as much. As long as Snake Eye Fire King is relevant at triple Kieran, your imperms and Veilers, they're going to miss. Unless you imperm in the draw phase, or you could imperm on your turn outside of the main phase. That's another way to play around it. Garunix off of a card being destroyed, and I guess this is when you Kieran destroy Poplar, come forth and summon, and then the Garunix would activate, and then the Abomination would activate to what? We would have popped Kieran here, and then Kieran would have triggered if there was another Fire King to summon, which there wasn't. So I guess that's what the Abomination would have done in response to Kieran popping the Poplar, which I don't think would have been that good. We're going to pop a Ponix, Original Sinful, send Poplar to summon a Snake Eye Ash. Ash add from the deck a Poplar. Poplar's going to trigger, summon itself onto the field, link it off into a Link Karibo. Abomination could get Anima. That's quite scary. We're going to Reborn our Soul Rage of the Chamber and get Lincoln off. Link off with the Link Karibo, making an SP Little Knight on summon. Get ready to target and banish the one of Garunix. They play just one of that, I believe. That is the most popular way to play it. Let's see this. Garunix is being played at 95% at 1. So banishing the Snake Eye Fire King, the Garunix from the graveyard or field, that is a really good play. A tiny minority of 5% playing it at 2. Come forth, Promethean Princess. After reborn the Shavara, so it's not just Ash Blossom they're stealing with Hida, they're also stealing your Shavara. That's not good. We're going to Call by the Grave, finger the Snake Eye Ash, cross out Designate, negate the Call by the Grave, mates. And is this the end of Yubel? Hopefully not. Come forth and summon Flameburst, which could push the Unchained Abomination into the back row if we want to get rid of it easily. We're going to steal the Soul of Rage. Oh my gosh. We summon Soul of Rage in our field. Main phase 1, we link off Abomination into our own Little Knight. Okay, it works. It works. Your Soul of Rage is mine. Grab Ponix, steal your Soul of Rage. We're using it right now because what that tells me is UMC said, I want to end my main phase. And he said, no, you're not. I'm going to make a Little Knight with your Soul of Rage, Little Knight on summon, banishing the Spirit Gates off of the field. Now we got some plays, but we're not going into D-Lotus, which is very interesting. We have a Promethean Princess in the graveyard. We don't have Garunix. So our only form of disruption is the Promethean Princess off of a special summon. Are we going to do it on the Phantom of Yubel? No, we're not. Now Phantom of Yubel can negate the Promethean Princess. We're going to discard Dark Beckoning, reborn the Dark Beckoning, link it off into Typhon again. Typhon turns off Flameburst. Flameburst will not activate in the graveyard if destroyed because of the Typhon. It's not just stopping 3,000 attack or more from activating on the field, it's anywhere. Now, unfortunately, as I've been saying continually with the Typhon, the biggest counter to Typhon is Promethean Princess, which we protected with our Phantom of Yubel. Turning the effect of the Promethean into instead destroy a Spirit of Yubel to summon a Yubel into the field. Typhon is also getting banished by the Little Knights. And now the Typhon is not able to spin the Flameburst back to the hand. We set the Nightmare Throne. Okay. Now, Sky Crisis Typhon states, if this is Xyz summoned, it was banished by Little Knight, it then came back, is it still Xyz summoned? Yes. It's still remembering how it was summoned. It was not banished then special summoned, it was banished then returned. So the Flameburst still cannot activate. So we can't just push it into the back row. Poplar trigger after being added, come forth and summon. What is our out to the Sky Crisis? We simply just battle over it. Can you imagine if it said 3,000 attack or more, cannot attack, nor activate? That would have been nuts. And just like that, lethal damage. UMC, I'm happy to see your use of Typhon. Unfortunately, yeah, Typhon itself has been quite underwhelming today. I don't think we've seen Typhon win a duel. Typhon has just been used in the losing duelist to lose a little less, but then still lose. Yubel, again, versus Snake Eye Fire King, again. Now, Barong is an interesting tech. Not a lot of people are playing that I'd be willing to guess. If I look at the analytics on the Barong, what is it played at? It is, where's Snake Eye Fire King? 5% are playing it at 1. 95% are not playing it. 100% of Fire King Tri-Brigade are playing it. 91% of Pure Fire King. But Snake Eye Fire King is what the best deck is at the moment. And I do think that Yubel is quickly going to shoot up to tier 2. Definitely. Where's Rescue Ace? Are all the Rescue Ace players today playing Yubel instead? Thought on a Yubel mate? That, yeah, a Yubel mate would be great. Let's go. Fire King Island, we have Imperm and Valor to help stop their turn 1 play as they grab the Garunix. Garunix will trigger, come forth and summon. This is the fear of a Kirin. Thus, we didn't Imperm or Valor. Interesting. Valor is also scary because of triple tactics talent, potentially. Gee, you don't hear the cat screaming? You do. You're just ignoring it. She's screaming for help. She's saying, help, help. Oh, she's hungry. All right, Barong, after being destroyed, is going to be adding a Kirin from the deck. Very nice. And what are our disruptions? We have pop up to 2 cards on the field. We have Imperm negates. We have a Garunix, which will pop a Kirin to pop a card in the field. So we have triple disruption. That's it. Let's go. This might actually be Pure Fire King. Okay, Pure Fire King. I don't see any Snake Eye. Normal summoning Dark Beckoning. We are not going to be imperming that. We have triple disruption we have to play through. When's the Maxi being whipped out? We have Nightmare Throne, which we're going to chain the Kirin to the Nightmare Throne to trigger Garunix to pop a Kirin to pop a card in the field. That's what I'm thinking. Pop Spirit of Yubel. Garunix is triggering to summon and then pop a Kirin to then pop a card in the field. As we've been saying, Yubel is here. Get ready. Pop Kirin on the field. Reborn. We're popping our own Garunix. Okay. Interesting. Volcanix popping the Garunix to search for... Okay, it's another form of disruption. We have a spell and trap card, negate, imperm, and pop 2 cards in the field. Are we Typhoning again? What's going on? No, it's not Typhoning. He used 2 of them. One of them was lighting up, not the other. Typhon was not even summonable. They didn't summon anything from the extra deck. Maxi now. Return back. Phantom of Yubel. Now, most cards that negate, you chain imperm to them negating. Phantom of Yubel jumps off the field, so you have to preemptively imperm the Phantom of Yubel before using the monster effect that you don't want Phantom of Yubel to negate. Opening the Spirit Gates is going to discard the opening, reborn a Spirit of Yubel, grabbing the Nightmare Pain. The opening can add back a Spirit Gates or a Nightmare Pain in the graveyard back. We're going to imperm negate the Phantom of Yubel preemptively because we're wanting to use maybe our Ash Blossom, our Rangbali. Yup, we're going to Rangbali, negate the Nightmare Pain. Now, what are we negating? We are going to negate the activation, thus the flip up is going to be going to the graveyard now. If it were negate the effect like a Sprite Carrot, it would just do nothing. It would stay on the field. Now, the Sprite Carrot would have to tribute off a Link or Xyz, which would then destroy it. So negate the activation, different than negate... What just happened? Oh, okay, we're destroying from our hand the Rangbali. I was thinking the Nightmare Pain was destroying a card. Okay, the activation of the card was negated. The pop threw me off. To battle we go, reflect 2,000 damage off of swinging into the Volcanix, even though we are negated. Making a Little Knight with a Link monster, thus we get to banish a card in the field. Nibiru is going to tribute up the field. Little Knight's going to chain banish itself, plus the Phantom of Yubel. Skyburn's going to say no. We're going to pop the field spell, plus the Little Knight, thus the Yubel's not going to be banished. It's going to be tributed for the Nibiru. Goodbye to the field spell, which would have triggered off of our monster leaving the field by card effect. So that was good to take out the field spell. Now what do we have here? Fire King Island wiping out the Nibiru as we simply just have an Imperm and Valor. We did not summon another Phantom of Yubel to end on. Do we play them, right? We're under Max C though. Max C, right? Max C. All right. 0/0 token. We had the Garunix being reborn, which destroys all their monsters, of course. We then now summon our Diablo Star. I still think this is pure Fire King. It could be. Until I see a Snake Eye Ash or a Flameburge, it's pure Fire King to me. Yeah, no original Sinful into the Snake Eye plays. We're going to be popping to summon a Kirin, trigger Garunix, come forth and summon, pop a Kirin from the deck, and then pop another card in the field. Pure Fire King, from what we've seen so far, defeating Yubel. Now, Yubel's going to go first for game 2. Let's go. Let's go. Spirit Gates mate, grabbing that Dark Beckoning Beast. Come to me. Oh, we're not eating that Ash. Nope, we're on summon number 1. Got Throne. Ash is now negating. I think it's better to open up with Throne, then open up with Spirit Gates, and then it would be the monsters. So there you go. Negate that Throne. No search for Yubel for you. If we wanted to, we could have returned Spirit, returned the Beast, make a Phantom of Yubel, then activate the Throne, and then we would have negated the Ash, but then we're going to get Nibiru. We can now use the opening of the Spirit Gates to discard the Spirit of Yubel to reborn the Spirit of Yubel. We just don't have access to the D-Lotus, which is fine. We got the Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel, grabbing the Nightmare Pain, flip it up, get poppin'. We're on summon 1, 2, 3. 3 summons. We're on 4 summons. We're now on 5 summons. So the big question is, if we can Nibiru and there isn't a Phantom of Yubel in the field, do we just do it? Yes, we're doing it. Now, the Grave Scormer can only special summon if you control a Fiend monster. We don't control a Fiend until we summon the Phantom of Yubel, which we now summon it. Very good. Link off with the token to make a Cross Sheep. Make sure we're pointing to the Phantom of Yubel. We're going to summon to where the Cross Sheep is pointing to, triggering the Cross Sheep to reborn a level 4 lower, which normally is a D-Lotus, allowing the additional summon into the Beast. So it looks like Nibiru was not so good. We're going to grab a Shavara. We're going to further link this up into SP, Little Knight on summon, banish the Nibiru off the field. Further playing into this, we're going to Shavara pop the Phantom of Yubel, linking off the Little Knight into a Soul of Rage. Are we making an Apollo USA off of this? No. Yama's on the fields. Why is Yama on fields? I guess we're going to pop Yama, pop a card, keep Soul of Rage in the field. That plays around something like a Call by the Grave. Sure. And we have a negate with the Phantom of Yubel. Negate, link off, pop, and negate with the Veiler. And the link off's going to be, I don't know, because the Little Knight's in the grave. So that's going to be interesting. Imperm is here, negating the Phantom of Yubel. Thus, we're now down to triple disruption. Diablo Star. This is where we would Rage, Diablo Star, Little Knight, banish the original Sinful off the field. But we don't have Little Knight. We think we do, though. What are we summoning? A Muckraker. Okay. We have Escape and Veiler. That's it. Well, that's enough to stop him. Ponix activate, Veiler, negate. No Kieran to worry about in the hand, and if there was a Kieran, we could chain the Imperm to the Kieran. Wait, that's not Imperm. Never mind. That's an Escape. We have Escape. So actually, Kieran would have stopped that. Yeah. Typhon. We Escape pop it. Right? Before it activates, returning a monster back to the hand. Non-target, return a monster back to the hand, wipe it out, and let's get to it. Now, a big criticism of Yubel is they're not lethaling on open fields unless they put in enough cards in their extra deck. So let's see if we're going to see a lethal play here. We have the Mature Chronicle. Every time a Yubel monster is summoned or a monster that mentions Yubel, it's going to be special summon. We're going to add counters. The first counter can reborn a Yubel from the graveyard. The second counter can add a banished card to the hand. The third can banish a card from your deck. So technically, there is a situation where you could treat this like a Gold Sark. If you gain 3 counters, you can banish any card you want from the deck. And then next turn, you could add that banished card back to your hand. I don't know if there's some crazy idea with that. Is anyone actually using that? Maybe in a stun matchup, you could do that. Banish a Harpy Feather Duster, then add it back to your hand? Probably not. The cooler play is after 4 counters, you could non-target, destroy a card in the field. And 5 counters, you could add a Super Polymerization from your deck to your hand. So with them playing this, I think they're playing Super Poly. Probably. Nightmare Griffin is here. We are removing our counter to reborn a Yubel from the graveyard. As I said, we're not inflicting lethal damage. But, I mean, we win, right? How are we going to stop this? Now, only our linked up monsters can activate. The Phantom of Yubel can not activate. And normally, I would say it's better to put the regular Yubel not linked up with Griffin. So you put Yubel over here or here, it then does not activate. You then reborn a D-Lotus from the graveyard, and then you don't have to tribute anything on the field. So we're adding to the hand here. Yep. So ideally, Yubel would be here. We wouldn't have summoned Phantom of Yubel, and then D-Lotus would have special summoned next to the Nightmare Griffin, and then we would have been good. But, I mean, we're still good. We're still great. What are we going to do, mate? We got this. All right. Game number 3. Banish Thunder Dragon Dark. You want, all right, Yubel, yeah, sure, do that. Play something that triggers off of being banished. I swear it happens a lot. Fire King Sanctuary, setting up the Fire King Island. Pop Garunix to grab a Kirin. The Garunix cannot trigger off of itself being destroyed. We're now going to trigger Garunix, come forth and summon, pop from the deck. What we are popping is nothing because Valor is going to negate. Now, we already have our bots in the graveyard, but the big question is, how do we summon a Promethean Princess? Ideally, they would have an Ash Blossom in the grave to Hito Reborn, but they don't, thus we're ending on this. Garunix on the field is bad. You do not want it on the field, so the best way to get in the grave is going to be Nibiru. But you then want a fire monster on the field to be destroyed with Garunix in the grave or in the hand, which Nibiru is not going to help with that. So it's not looking good for Fire King. Super Poly is going to fuse with the fields. We are now under Summon 1 for Nibiru. 4 more summons and that Nibiru's coming. It's not coming because we now have a Phantom of Yubel. Moon Dragon making dark monsters untargetable from a Valor as we summon a Spirit of Yubel. I shouldn't even be counting because we can't even Nibiru. Well, we could, just Phantom will negate. Nightmare Pain, get poppin', grab the Grave Squirmer mate, summon a Yubel from the deck. Special summon Grave Squirmer, pop Yubel, summon Terror Incarnate from the deck. Further link this up into Cross Sheet. Reborn with the Squirmer, or just summon a Phantom of Yubel to reborn the Squirmer itself. Further link this up into a Yama. Yama search for Shavara. Squirmer, reborn a Spirit of Yubel, ideally from the graveyard. Pop the Spirit of Yubel, summon a Yubel from the deck. All this and we will probably not have lethal damage. Yeah, looks like we're not... Whoa, we do. We actually have lethal damage thanks to the Moon Dragon. Moon Dragon giving us lethal damage on the field just like that. Let's go. Nicely done. See, you don't need access code Talker. You don't need Abomination. Good job, Lemon. So what I do think is going to be very interesting is looking at all the different topping Yubel decks and comparing who's playing access code Talker, who's playing Super Poly. Is any of them playing the Eternal Favorite? Sharon is activating. We do not have a Gamma to negate that disrespectful Max C. Ain't no freaking way. Come forth and summon, discard the Trick Clown trigger, reborn from the graveyard at the cost of 1,000 life. And how much are we doing under this? We're going to at least make a Little Knight. Wow. Draw 3 for Little Knight. Are we still cooking? What are we doing? We're done here, right? You draw 3, I have a Little Knight. Not a good trade. We are going to opening up the Spirit Gates mate, searching for a Dark Beckoning Beast. I was talking about this with Gia, that back in the day, if you were to have Maxied me, I would just say, okay, I end my turn. There was no real threat of you one-turn killing. There was no real threat of you doing something crazy. And so is Maxi really the problem itself? Of course it is, but it's also just how powerful Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become, where it puts that pressure on you that you have to keep on special summoning or you're pretty much conceding the duel. All right, all right. Maxi was around for a long time within myself playing TCG and just no one used it. We didn't care. It was not a big deal. We did care about using it in Dragon Ruler, but that's because it was being used with the Earth Dragon Ruler to discard it. Super Polymerization in response to the impermanence negating the Spirit of Yubel. Finally, the Loving Defender Forever animation for the first time in the tournament, I believe, is here. We dodged Imperm, and this fusion summon with Super Poly could fuse the entire opposing field. Everything. It also could banish a monster it battles into, then burn for the attack of that monster, and we also get to reflect with the Nightmare Pain. So it's like a double reflect on top of the burn it does on summon. We now have an out to a Nibiru, reborn the Maxi with the Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep, as I suspected, would be very popular within the extra decks of Yubel. We have Yama searching for our Shavara. Let's speed this up. Pop our set, summon Shavara. We have 4,700 damage, making the Soul of Rage. Not enough for lethal, setting up a chamber. Further showconning into a Fat Apollo USA, 2,400, triple negates. And yeah, this is the biggest thing that the deck's being criticized for, is not finishing off the opponent. We're not finishing them off. We're going to max here in the draw phase, but we have a ton of disruption. We have negate, 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 link off mate, 5 disruption, plus the Soul of Rage going into Little Knight, banish again, about 7 disruption. And we're under max C for the second freaking time. How unfair. We're not being negated from trying to add the Oliver from the graveyard. I was going to say Oliver from the grave back to the hand. We now have the Phantom of Yubel negating to pop a Spirit to summon a Yubel. We're going to Rage, link off the Special Summon monster going into Little Knight. Little Knight is here. Come forth and summon Yubel. You don't have good options on what you have to attack into. You have to attack. You attack into the Loving Defender, you get banished and you get burned. You attack into Yubel, you get burned, you get burned. It's double damage on whoever you attack into, and you have to attack. You can't skip it. We have Imperm. Imperm, I think, is going to be good against the Connector. It's a bit of a risk if they have another way to get a Warrior onto the field to make the Isold. The Imperm onto the second effective Isold could be considered better. So this was high risk, high reward, and we got that high reward. We paid the risk, and we did it. We have Ash and Max C against Yubel. Cross-out Designate to negate one of them. Max C, negate the Nightmare Pain from popping and searching. We're going to negate the negates. Wait, no. I was thinking Ash. We're not ashing. We're Max C'ing. Okay. So normally we protect Max C by ashing. You ash, it gets negated, then you follow up Max C. We're instead protecting our Ash. Okay. Ash is our higher priority to protect. Okay, so this was the activation of the card, not the activation of the effect. Now we're going to Ash. So the play would be, if you want to protect Max C, wait for the activation of the effect to Ash it, and then they would cross out the Ash, then you activate your Max C. All right, very well done. Negates, you don't get that effect, mate. We have the Dark Beckoning, which will search and allow an additional normal summon. The Grave Squirmer is also an additional special summon, making the Lord of Yama. Search for Shavara. We're going to pop our set opening, and to battle we go. Main phase 2, link this off into a Rage, and from that, we're going to be able to, depending on what we set, a Chamber or Escape. Escape could pop, and then we can link off into a Little Knight. Then Little Knight will banish, then banish again. Off of this little play, now we don't have Escape. So instead, we have triple Disruption. 3 disrupts. Let's see what we can do. Only works with a special summon monster, so the Rhino Heart is protected. Send Hovness. Hovness is going to Shokan into our Kit Cow. Kit Cow is going to search our deck. We could make a Little Knight off of the Kit Cow, which is exactly what we're doing. We're not waiting for the resolution of the Kit Cow to activate. We're doing it right here, right now. Now, what do you think, chat? Soul of Raged just sent Kit Cow to the graveyard. Will Kit Cow activate? No, it won't. It won't. It's not sent by card effects. So anything. They have a Kaleido. They have a Sharon. They have a Tear on the field. They have Kit Cow. If you link it off with Anguish, link it off with Soul of Rage, it's not going to activate in the grave. Very important to know this. Sharon, discard the Connector, mill 3, come forth, big enough to take out the Little Knight. The good way to counter Little Knight is simply just battle over it, don't activate anything while there's 2 monsters on the fields. Soul of Rage, Reborning, but we already activated the effect. We're going to Chamber, Reborn from the grave, our Shavara for our follow-up play. We're going to Squirmer in the end phase, come forth and special summon, so it's hard once return effect of special summoning will be usable again. Pop the Squirmer, grab the D-Lotus, and let's speed this up. Maybe we could self-inflict lethal, just continually swing into that Sharon, and then Shavara attack, and then so we have 2,000 damage through the Shavara and the Rage. Let's just see what we do. Turn back. We have 1,800 through the Phantom, further linking this up into Apollo USA. No reflect off of Yubel. We don't do that. Did we not have lethal damage? Could we not have just lethaled? I feel like we could have at least gotten 2 Yubels, reflect 1,800 twice, and then 2k the face for game. But it does not matter. We have enough disruption through the Apollo USA, triple monster negate, and finish them up. Let's go. I think the most common way Yubel's going to win is through the opponent just surrendering, because Yubel in many circumstances is not going to finish you off, and it's going to be annoying. You're just going to get out of the duel. All right, 2-0. Let's go. Fusion deployment, chaining the Max C. Now the Thrust could set a trap from the deck, which will probably be an Imperm. The idea is you branded Fusion, they negate, you then thrust into a Fusion duplication. We still have duplication? Huh? Duplication, copy, super poly? Is that a copy fusion deployment? Huh? Okay. We are going to start this off with the Phantom of Yubel. Now, it's important to note that the Phantom of Yubel cannot be used for a fusion summon. So where does it say that? Cannot be used as a fusion material. Nope. So we can't super poly it. We're going to Dark Beckoning Beast, grabbing an opening of the Spirit Gates mates. Activate, grab another Dark Beckoning Beast. Additionally, summon our Dark Beckoning Beast as we link, wow, Synchro into Baron to floor. What the heck? The double resonator into Baron to floor. Okay. We are going to be fusing in response to that. I don't think so. Let's go. Using Shokan into the Gangrenol. Thank you very much. Gangrenol is going to send Branded Fusion to the graveyard. Thus, we have to negate. They could send the Serenir, which could send Branded Fusion, which the duplication could copy the Branded Fusion. No more, not going to happen. That would have been something. We could have fingered the Serenir from doing that also. Okay, we didn't want to finger the Cartesia. Duplication, copying the Fusion to summon an Albaz. Oh my gosh. Had we called by the Grave instead of let the Cartesia get added back, they could not have done this. Damn, Mirror Jade is now here. Abomod is cooking. All right, what else we have? Cartesia off the top of the deck. To battle we go, 3k to the face. We have non-target monster banish that we have to deal with. Okay. Piri Resmap has to be used at the start of the main phase. And then you have to normal summon that D-Lotus. So first, we're going to Dark Beckoning. It's going to get banished. We could just reborn the other Dark Beckoning, but we're going to discard D-Lotus instead. So, oh my gosh. Did the Piri Reese map screw that up? Add, but have, after adding, you cannot activate the added monster effect or cards with the same name until you normal summon that monster with its name. So we discarded to reborn it. And that does not work. Now, could we have done something else? We did have a Dark Beckoning in the graveyard. I think so, right? So we discard the Spirit Gates to reborn the Dark Beckoning and then additionally normal summon the D-Lotus, and then we're good. We would have made our plays. But the Piri Reese map turned us off from the special summon play instead. And, you know, let's hop into game 2. Let's go. Set Called by Pass. We have Called by, Nibiru, Ash, Max C. We got the plays. Called by versus Called by. We have nothing to banish with our Bystials. There's no play. We now have a Moonlit Chill. Ain't no way. Brand opening within the draw phase, which the Moonlit Chill can negate if we wanted to. I would think that's a pretty good negate to negate. Now we're going to follow up with the Brand High Spirits to send the Titan Cloud and the Serenir to search for the Albion. Triggering the Serenir to send from the deck a Branded Fusion, which the Albion's going to add back to the hand. We are sending from the deck the Retribution, and just like that, come to me, Branded Fusion. Now, at the Branded Fusion, Ash will be negated by the Called by the Grave. Finger the Ash. Negate. I don't think so, mate. Now, what do we do for that? We don't chain a Max C in addition to the Ash? Really? Okay, we do have Moonlit Chill. There's no Branded Loss to negate the Moonlit Chill from, not negate, but stop it from activating. And just like that, we have Albion Branded Dragon. I guess we're chilling it, right? Get chillin'. Moonlit Chill, negate the Albion Branded Dragon. We don't have a Cartesia to dodge the Moonlit Chill. And if it leaves the field, you're going to burn for 2,500 damage. Just like that. Come forth, Bystial Lubellion. How did we not Max C? I can't believe this. How are we not under Max C? We're saving Max C for next turn? Next duel? We had the Thrust and a Duplication. Well, here's the thing about Branded. Max C's really good on their turn and your turn. They're going to special summon a ton on your turn, and if we want to do it on our turn, I guess that's what we're going to do. Let's do it. So the trick here is if they activate an effective special summon we Max C, the best play in response to Max C is to chain our own Max C. Why? Is because we want to then not be able to finger the Max C. If we Max C early and it gets fingered, they could then chain their own Max C to their own finger. Thus, their Max C will go through. So you want to very carefully hold their Max C, chain it to their Max C, and then we're good. And the Ash is currently fingered, so she's negated from even negating their Max C. It's all up to the finger. Dark Beckoning, we got plays. We got plays. We got this. Dark Beckoning into the opening. We have the Fusion Duplication. Now we want to chain our Max C. Now. Yeah, smart. Abamon knows what he's doing. You're not fingering their Max C. No, you're not. Thus, the Max C is going through. Both Max Cs are in. We're going to be banishing the Brain of Fusion. Oh my gosh, that's a puppet lock. Ain't no way can we finger the puppet play. Now, can we activate in response to this Fusion Summon because the Brain had lost? No, you can't. I should say you can. You can activate cards in response to this Fusion Summon, even though the Fusion Summon was on Chain Link 1. Because Duplication is not Fusion Summon. So you can activate in response to the Fusion Summon. There you go. You could chain to this if you want to. You could chain Ash, it's negated. You could chain the Called By, it's all fine. It's only in response to an effect that Fusion summons. Now, you can't. Now you can't Call by the Grave. Your last opportunity to finger the Gimmick Puppet was before this was summoned. In response to the Branded Loss activating to grab the Mercurier. We could have fingered the puppet. And now it's too late. And now we're done. We're screwed. We can't special summon non-puppets. So in case you don't believe me on the ruling real quick, it says that your opponent can activate cards or effects when a monster is fusion summoned this way. An effect to fusion summon. So the Fusion Duplication does not give you the protection of this way. It's copying an effect, and that's its only effect. Its effect is to copy. Its effect is not to fusion summon. So we could have fingered. And we're going to be tribute summoning for Spirit of Yubel. Okay, give a little kiss to the Lubellian. Sure, why not? What's really unfortunate is Spirit of Yubel doesn't activate on normal summon. It's only special summon. Why? Why can't we, on normal summon, set our Nightmare Pain? Lubellian setting up another Branded Lost. As we now come forth, Anaconda. Anaconda is here to copy a fusion card from the deck. We're going to Branded Banishment. It's now time to finger the Albion. You're not going to summon. You're not going to keep on looping that puppet lock on me. I do not think so. Now, could we have found a way to protect our Albion? Maybe in response to a fusion effect, we could have then have the protection of Branded Lost, then try to summon it. Now we have the Loving Defender Forever fusing with the field, making her to then burn for 1,000 damage, that is. We have Nightmare Throne because our Yubel left the field by card effect to grab a Terran Incarnate to come forth and summon onto the field. We don't have a Nightmare Pain, so we don't have to attack into that Terran Incarnate. Now, Terran Incarnate only during our own end phase will destroy all other monsters on the field. Can't be destroyed by battle. It can be destroyed by card effects. Now, ruling. Loving Defender says, at the end of the damage step of this battle, an opponent's monster inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster attack. If you do, banish that monster. Does Loving Defender banish the Terra Incarnate? What do you think? No, it does not. It has to burn. No burn, no banish. Zero attack, no banish. We're going to Ash Blossom, negate the Albion during the end phase. And let's go. We have Loving Defender with no Nightmare Pain of our own. Of course, we're not playing it. We are branded, but we're tacking in some Yubel just to eat the Ash, I believe. Get the Piri Reese map. We're not using it. That's it. You can't Piri Reese map because it has to be used at the start of the main phase. Spirit of Yubel going to get negated by the Mercurier. We're going to change Shavara, which still we're negated. We're still negated. Because we're negating the effect, we're not negating the card. So the card leaving does not matter. But the Spirit of Yubel will still trigger. Come forth and summon Yubel. To battle we go. We don't have Nightmare Pain. We're not reflecting damage. But we do have Terra Incarnate destroy the entire field, except the Loving Defender, which cannot be destroyed by card effect. So that is something. But we could turn it off by using Yubel to tribute it during the end phase if we wanted to for some reason, or we could just link off with it right now. So what are we doing? Are we planning on wiping the field with our own Terra Incarnate? We have the Guiding Quem because a monster left the extra deck to trigger to reborn a monster from the grave. Fallen Albaz is going to fusion summon. This is it. Activate, fusion summon, mate. Yup, it's happening. Discard our spirit. We're gonna call by the grave, finger the Mercurier in the grave. Okay, sure. As the Albaz now performs our fusion summon. Using with the Yama to make a Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade is gonna be able to non-target monster banish the Terra Incarnate off the field. Sure. Triggering the Lost. In response to not being able to respond to this, we're going to banish before you could respond in any way whatsoever. Goodbye to the Terra Incarnate. And by the time you choose the Yama to fuse with, you can't then say, okay, I want to use Escape. You have to escape before because it's a non-target fusion. We're now returning back to make a Yubel. We didn't link it off first. And still, no Nightmare Pain. There's no Nightmare Pain. Where's the Nightmare Pain? We have the Springen kit, add back the branded fusion. Terra Incarnate missed the time. Yeah, thank you. I don't need the chat to also tell me that. It's enough in game. Albion is here. Can't respond to this summon. Activate Diffusion Summon. Search in our deck for another card. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Now, we don't need a Nightmare Pain for the Loving Defender to deal some damage if they actually had a monster of value on the field to reflect the damage on. The Nightmare Throne will trigger off of the Phantom of Yubel leaving to add Yubel and summon Yubel. So they can't be destroyed by battle. They can be destroyed by card effect. But destroying them by card effect just... Now, Yubel does miss the timing. It's actually relevant to know this. If destroyed on Chainlink 2 or higher, Yubel misses the timing from summoning a Terra Incarnate. But Spirit of Yubel does not miss the timing. But if we probably don't play another copy of Yubel, so we're doing this instead. So you do miss the timing on the Terra Incarnate summon. We are fusing with the Spirit of Yubel, which does not trigger off of being leaving the field by card effect. That would be the Nightmare Throne that triggers, which we already did. Escape of the Unchained. We're going to get Poppin', Bring It Opening, protect from that attack. Yama's going to trigger off of our card being destroyed, reborning Yubel. And you don't want to attack on your Yubel because it's going to reflect the damage of your attack, even without the Nightmare Pain. And as we said, the Loving Defender cannot deal with it. So what the heck? Attempt number 10 of getting the Nightmare Pain to reflect damage. At 2,000 life, we could attack into any of the monsters and then we win. We got it. We actually got it. Ain't no freaking way. Nightmare Pain, get popping a Spirit of Yubel. We don't play another Yubel to summon, but we're going to trigger the Throne to grab the Banish Incarnate to summon it onto the field here. Couldn't the Borreload Furious? Oh, it's too late. Borreload Furious can't pop Nightmare Pain now. Too late. It's too late, mate. There's no way Abamod's losing this turn. There's no freaking way. No way. No way! How? I can't believe Yubel stole that duel. We waited on the Borreload. We kept on stopping the Nightmare Pain from being searched for, and then when they finally had it, we still had an out to it, but the inherent special summon of the Phantom of Yubel does not start a chain link. It just hits the field. That's why people are going to have to maxi before it's summoned. They're going to have to activate their effects before it is summoned. This is it. Set up the branded in red. At least there's not a branded lost. So what do we top deck in? Ghost Mourner, Moonlit Chill, which cannot negate an Albion Dragon since it's unfreaking targetable. That's the Albion Sanctifier, which cannot be targeted by the Moonlit Chill. Otherwise, we could have freaking negated it. But I don't know why. They had to make it. You can't Super Poly it. You can't target it with Imperm. You can't Moonlit Chill it. Like, Konami wanted this to happen. Parry Race map into the Spirit of Yubel. That, I mean, we're just like scooping, right? Yeah, we're scooping. We're scooping. The Spirit of Yubel can't even activate. We're gonna pop the Gimmick Puppet, get that out of here. I think we're attempting to end our main phase even, possibly, unless we're activating this on the Resolution. Borreload, probably on the Resolution, making a Borreload. Yeah, we're just ending. It's like, so this is activatable if they attack. That's a good reason to use this for. They attack, we special summon, and there you go. Which obviously is not going to be enough to protect us. We are coping. It's the best thing we could do. better than surrendering, right? Or should Astro just surrender? Now, this could be a reason to be playing Bystials now. Bystial going to be pretty decent against Yubel, and then Bystial could help you against the gimmick freaking puppy. Abomod defeating Yubel after having game 2 stolen by the Nightmare Pain. Thank you, Astro. Thank you, Abomod. Let's keep on going. Let's do it. Let's go. Here, resmap. We resmap and resmap into the D Lotus. Make sure you normal summon it. Now, are we going to play around Nibiru? We're on summon number 2. Setting up the Nightmare Pain. We just have to get the Phantom of Yubel out before the 5th summon. Or it could be on the 5th summon. Or you could set up a play where it's not so good to Nibiru. So we're on the 3rd summon. 4th, 5th. Do we Nibiru on the resolution right here, right now? Nope. Okay. So this is kind of your last chance to Nibiru as they summon a Phantom right now. Nope. Now we're definitely not Nibiruing. Reborn the D Lotus. Now, again, we can Nibiru. Are we Nibiruing? Right now before the Apollo USA. This is an Apollo. This is 100%. You cannot Nibiru after this. Last opportunity. We're holding. Oh, I'm holding Nibiru. Okay, sure. No Nibiru. All right, so Nibiru's gone. Serenir banishing a Phantom of Yubel. Gravescormer can't summon Phantom of Yubel. So this is what I'm talking about, the unfamiliarity with Yubel, possibly helping out Yubel a bit this week. So instead, we are summoning from the grave a Spirit of Yubel. Likely, that's what you want to summon for the Shavara to pop it. All right, let's go. Come forward, Spirit of Yubel, Shavara, get poppin'. We're going to use the Yama to reborn from the graveyard. And if we're using Yama, that tells me one of two things. We're either playing Chamber in our deck, or we're playing a second Yama in our extra deck. Probably not a second Yama. It's more likely they're playing Chamber, as they're going to set right here, right now. Yep, Chamber is here. Chamber will reborn. Apollo will negate, as they're looking like they're ending their turn. The Yubel is going to trigger to, we're not summoning a Phantom of Yubel. Were we actually trying to end our turn? I don't think so. We had more plays to make. Promethean Princess in Yubel. I have not really seen any OCG players playing this, but TCG is. TCG is liking Promethean Princess. I don't think the majority are, but some of them are. Into a Doolittle Chimera. Sure. Okay. Doolittle with the Promethean Princess. We have a negate, Promethean Princess mate. We have the Soul of Rage. We have the Effect Veiler. We can Eternal Favorite fuse with the entire field if there's a Yubel in the field. Not Yubel monster, a Yubel. So that's going to be about 6 disruptions. Get ready. Let's go. Or no, the Serenir was on the previous turn. We're going to be special summoning Recharger. We're going to be using the Chamber to reborn the Rage, linking off with Recharger to now make an SP Little Knight. Little Knight on summon, banishing the Serenir. We have the Rocket Tracer into a Striker. Striker Dragon can grab the Boot Sector launch, but it's going to be negated. So what we wanted to do was Boot Sector launch, use Striker Dragon to pop ourselves to grab back the Rocket Tracer, or just use the Boot Sector launch to reborn the Rockets from the grave because the opponent has more monsters than you. Negate by popping a Spirit of Yubel to summon a Yubel onto the field. And now, only with an original Yubel can the Eternal Favorite with a Yubel only fuse with the entire field. So when do we fuse the entire field? We're going to Luke Tyler using the effect of Promethean, pop him the Doolittle Chimera. Doolittle Chimera, add back the Shavara. Thank you very much. As we now have Dragon Ravine, discarding Nibiru to send from the deck an Abso Router. We already used up our normal summon. Oh my gosh, we're just not letting them do anything. Do you not want to fuse with their field, Luke Tyler? Do you have to clap them up this hard? Damn. Shavara within the main phase, popping the Promethean Princess. Eternal Favorite, using the effect. So Eternal Favorite makes the Spirit of Yubel not activate on summon. But what you could have done, well, we couldn't have done this because the Promethean Princess locked us out of summoning this. If you chain link 2 or higher, this will miss the timing. Neither player could activate cards or effects when that monster is special summoned. So chain link 2 or higher, that will miss the timing. And before one of you think, oh, that's stupid, what the heck? No, you should be happy that it works this way, because otherwise, You could chain this in response to any of your card effects that would result in a trigger, and it would turn off your trigger effect. So it's a good thing that it works that way. For you, that's not playing, that would be playing against this. A Shokan into the Anguish, 8,000 damage here. Further going into an access code talker, boost. And holy crap, 6,300. We have enough for lethal. We're gonna discard, reborn, come forth, and just like that, over 8,000 damage, mate. Yes. I saw question marks in the chat. Do you understand what I'm trying to say about the Eternal Favorite? If you Chainlink 2 or higher, summon your Spirit of Yubel, it will be activatable because the effect of not being able to respond to its summon would miss the timing. Because otherwise, if you Chainlink 1, summon Spirit of Yubel, it does not activate. Chainlink 2 or higher, you will be able to activate. It will turn off the ability of neither player can activate when that monster special summoned. Now going first, we're playing against a Maxi and Veiler. We have Ash Blossom for that the Maxi that is. Negate anything, negate a monster effect. Let's go. We have the Nightmare Pain. Are we negating the effect? Yes, very good. Negate the effect, not the activation, because they could activate another Nightmare Pain, then activate the effect. Well done. We're going to Opening of the Spirit. So our cope is the Borland will be tricked into negating something that's not the D-Lotus. And so we could Dark Beckoning, we could search for a Chaos Summoning Beast, we could summon, we could Yama, everything to bait the Borland, and then at the end of it, we could discard the D-Lotus, reborn it, and then go into our plays with Yubel. But the Nightmare Pain has already been activated. Well, it worked out. So the big question is, how do you get your Dark Beckoning in the graveyard to discard the D-Lotus? Because this is now negated. You need Almirage. You need Almirage. You need Almirage. There's Almirage. So why are people playing Almirage? For this reason. This interaction is why they're playing Almirage. There you go. Imperm, Veiler, a negate, get in the graveyard, mate, reborn the Dark Beckoning, then additionally summon the D-Lotus, and now we're good. But again, the Nightmare Pain is second effect is stopped, so we're searching for an Eternal Favorite instead. Okay, we're gonna add, we add back the Nightmare Pain, remember that. If you have a level 10 monster, the Spirit Gates recycles the Nightmare Pain back to the hand. So good on Luke Tyler for remembering that. Yama search our deck for a Shavara, and we could reflect some damage here. 7,000 damage reflect. Further Shokaning into an Anguish. The Borland cannot be targeted. Further Shokaning into an Access Code Talker. Okay, Borland cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. 2335. Okay, not enough. Not enough. Main phase 2, pop the field spell. Borland is here to stay. Yup. And Borland could be negated by Phantom, right? No. You cannot change the Borland negating a card. So this is a problem. But the Borland has to attack into the Phantom of Yubel. It has to. So what are we doing? Even if we negate it, we still get reflected 3,500. The problem isn't the Phantom. The problem is the Nightmare Pain forcing Borland to attack. What's the out? What's the out? Okay, negate the attack. Baboosh, sure. We still lose. We still have to attack. We gotta just out the Nightmare Pain, or we're forced to attack. Striker, Yubel is gonna summon a Yubel. And with a Yubel on the field, the Eternal Favorite, if we don't use the effect to summon, is gonna fuse with the Borland Dragon. We're gonna fuse with it. So right now we could fuse and deal 5, 10, 20, oh, we actually have game. Yeah, wait, what? We summoned the wrong Yubel. We destroyed Yubel to summon Terror Incarnate? That doesn't work. Where, are you out of spirits? Where are your spirits? What? I'm confused. Spirit from the grave? Oh, the regular Yubel. You are such a styler. What the heck? Luke Tyler styling on the opponent here? Huh? 5, 10, 25, lethal damage right now. Wait, you don't have a card in the hand because you use Shavara to trigger to reborn Yubel. You need to discard. What? What's going on? Didn't we have game? We still have to attack. We still have to attack. We could have won with just Eternal Favorite, but they didn't have an out to the Nightmare Pain. Thus, we are still forced to attack. Okay, let's go. Begin. Yeah, if you get max seed, searching, I don't know. I mean, you still want Nightmare Pain face up, don't you? Let's get to it. Let's do it. Now, one Hydrant is full combo when Fiendsmith comes out. Fiendsmith is going to really break the game to the point where I think Beatrice may preemptively get banned. Unless Konami wants to make a lot of money, then they won't do so, but it probably should get preemptively banned. Setting up at least triple disruption here, plus Nibiru and a Droll and Lockbird. Let's keep on going. We have Promethean Princess. So what we have here is negate, negate, double monster, negate. We have the ability of Promethean to pop a card on a special summon. We have negate, we have pop, we have Nibiru, we have Droll and Lockbird, we have Preventer, flip a card face down. So that's 8 disruptions. Let's go. 8 disruptions versus 6 cards in our hand. Does that add up? We're going to summon an Albaz from the deck. We're going to use the Apollo to negate. No, we're going to use Extinguish instead of negating. We're just going to get rid of it. So the fusion fizzles. Nothing. It has to fuse with itself, so it does not work. Cartesia, come forth in special summon. Since we have an Albaz in the graveyard, Alubur is going to be able to dodge the Contain, but not dodge the Apollo. We're going to use Droplet to send the Alubur that's still negated until we negate the Apollo from negating. So there you go. It successfully goes through. Apollo is negated as we then add our branded fusion off of the Alubur search. Droll and Lockbird is now locking them out. Branded fusion, come forth, send from the deck a Lubellion and Albaz to make our Albion. This is where if we had a rescue. Rescue could be used in response to Albion trying to fuse with the Albaz to steal the Albaz, but there's a second Albaz in the graveyard, so that would not work. Rescue could steal if you have a Hydrant. We're going to use the Promethean Princess to take out the Cartesia, which already activated, as we then contain the Albion from fusion summoning. Goodbye, Cartesia. Come forth, Promethean Princess. And we are still going to be summoning a Preventer, send Preventer to summon a banished card. So we lose out on the disruption of Preventer, thus we're not able to flip a card in the field face down. Unless the Fire Rescue is going to be triggered, I should say the Fire Engine. Fire Engine special summon a level 4 from the deck, which cannot be a Preventer, so we still don't have that disruption. We do have Nibiru if we want to. Rebellion setting up a branded loss. We're going to triple tactics thrust a fusion duplication into our back row. So we're going to copy the branded fusion in the grave. We also have branded banishment. We have some good plays during their turn. I cannot believe that Rescue Ace is actually, it looks like they're going to lose this duel. Fusion duplicate, copy the deployment mate, summon from the deck in Albaz. Albaz discard Cartesia, and get fusion. Fuse with Promethean Princess to make our Mirror Jade for a non-target monster banish. Yep. And since the Albaz is on Chainlink 2, the Lost is not giving protection, but it does not matter. We're just going to add. Now, the Hydrant is activating to search for an Airlifter. We have the non-target monster banish. We also have Banishment to reborn from the grave and fuse with either fields. So about double disruption here. And we have an Albaz on the graveyard, so the Rinbrum being sent to the grave could reborn to then fuse, but we already used that effect, so that's not going to be a valid disruption. So actually take that back. Branded's not looking that good, actually. We're going to banish from the grave to summon a Preventer. Link this off into a Link Karibo. We're still waiting on when we're going to Mirror Jade non-target monster banish. Nightmare Phoenix to force out the use of the banishment. You can't hold on to it anymore. Triggering the Preventer being sent to the grave. We are going to first Mirror Jade, then Chain Banishment. Sending Titanclad to reborn the Alubur, then fuse with the fields. We're going to use Contain to negate the Mirror Jade. No Mirror Jade non-target banish. By resetting the Contain with Emergency, the Hydrant allows you to use it newly set the turn it's set. You can't set it from the hand and activate that turn. It has to be through the effect of a Rescue Ace card. Paratus is not that big of a deal. It's going to reduce the opposing field to 0 attack. Sure. Goodbye to the Banishment. We have Promethean Princess being triggered. Caritas is going to activate before being wiped out to reduce the entire opposing field to 0 attack. Now, Caritas triggering, summoning the Quem. Quem is going to send from the deck. We're going to but chain the impulse to summon a Rescue Ace from the deck. Come forth, Preventer. Send from the deck Retribution, which could add back the Branded Fusion. We're going to flip down the Quem. Turbulence setting up to 4 cards from the deck. The Hydrant cannot activate any of them because we already activated the Contain. As we further link this up into a Raging Phoenix, Shokan into Zealantis, lethal it looks like, banishing the entire field to then return the entire field back onto the field. Come forth, is this game. We're going to summon you face down, into a Typhon. Typhon, return a card back to the hand, helping with lethal damage. Ain't no way. Typhon just helped out lethal. Did it? Yes. Lethal damage with Typhon, taking this into a game 2. Very well done for Rescue Ace. Zealantis into Typhon, spin back, helping for lethal damage. I don't think that was the intent of Typhon. Typhon's supposed to help you break fields, not lethal them. Aluber, we have an Ash and Maxi. You save the Ash for the Branded Fusion. Even if there's a Branded loss, the Ash will negate the effect, not the activation. Very well done. We're going to chain the Branded and High Spirits to our Branded Fusion getting negated. We're going to reveal the Keeper, send an Albion, grabbing a Spring and Kit. Kit can now be special summoned, returning the evenly matched back into the deck. That worked out. And then we end our turn. Albion's going to set from the deck a Branded Opening. Sure. Could chain Maxi to that Branded Opening if we'd like to. Bonfire it up into the Poplar, trigger the Poplar, activate to summon itself onto the field. Activate, add from the deck, the original Sinful to summon a Hydrant from the deck. First going to make an Anima to suck up your Kit. You got to be careful about the extra monster zone area, the column that is. Branded Opening into a Max freaking C. Branded loves to special summon on both turns. You need 2 Maxis to stop them. Summon the Quem. Under the Maxi, we are continually drawing. Anima, give that Kit the good suck. Send the Poplar, summon for the deck the Hydrant. Hydrant searching for the Turbulence. Alerting a card from our deck since we have a Hydrant. Preventer banish from the grave to come forth and summon. We're going to trigger the Fire Engine to come forth and summon. Preventer, flip down the Quem, and we're just going to scoop. We're surrendering. Damn. Ash Blossom onto our Branded Fusion. Now, the Evenly Match was supposed to be another card. You play evenly because you're playing triple tactics thrust. And had it been a thrust instead of an evenly, they Ash your Branded Fusion, you thrust a duplication, the Fusion duplication into your back row, then you copy the Branded Fusion on the opponent's turn. We would have a Mirror Jade plus a Mercurier search for with the Branded lost. You just got unlucky. That is unfortunate. So let's now hop into the next match. Thank you for watching the full top 16. We'll be continuing with the tournament in the top 8 grand finale and the top decklist video right after that. We're going to be starting off the top 8 video with more Yubel. Yubel against Rescue Ace. And this is Yubel with Promethean Princess. Is this the best way to play Yubel? I don't know, but we're going to find out in the next video. Let's go.